Okay, so boys and girls, today we're going to talk about rain. And before we talk about rain and make it rain into our jar today, we're going to talk about this learner profile. So who can tell me what this learner profile says? What does it say, Esperanza?
It says
Inquire. Who can tell me what an inquirer is? What's an inquirer?
Don't tell Liam, he'll read them.
Liam, no, just tell me what an inquirer is.
We ask questions.
We ask questions. Jury. What else is an inquirer?
They find out new things.
Okay, let's let Jury have a chance. So Jury, what else, honey?
Whatever they don't know about animals, people, creatures, they ask and raise their hand to see what is it. Because if they don't raise their hand, do you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen? They're not going to know what is it.
Okay, so now how do you think we can be an inquirer today when we're going to do this experiment on rain? How can we be an inquirer today? What do you think, Esperanza?
I think to be an inquirer, we can ask a lot of questions about the experiment.
Sounds good. Okay, so let's get started. How about if we add that later, okay? All right, let's get started with our experiment. So let's talk a little bit about rain. Now, we did this lesson. And we talked about that clouds were, what did we say about clouds? They were
Big,
little. Sometimes they were, what colors?
black, white, or gray.
And then when the water is in the clouds,
They're teeny,
it's a teeny tiny what?
drop. It's even smaller. There's
Even
one
smaller, exactly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the experiment sheet that we put together, and we're going to talk about this whole process as we go. All right? Because the whole process, let's think about it. From when it starts to when it actually rains is called the what cycle? The water
cycle.
Okay? So let's start off, and it says, everybody help me?
The
Jar with water. Okay, Esperanza, can you do that? Can you fill the jar with water for me, please? Pour it in there, and I'll tell you when to stop, okay?
I can see it. Pour it in there.
A little bit more. That's good. That's good. Okay.
That's about good. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so the next step says, put
The sponge
on
top of the jar.
All right, Levi, can you do that? Now, Levi, when you put that up there, can you tell everybody what that sponge is supposed to be?
The cloud.
The cloud. Oh, okay, let's put that up there.
This has.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're good. We've done it a few times with other groups, and so that's why it's like that. All right, let's see. Everybody ready to do step number 3? Let's see what it says. Spray.
The sponge with colored water.
All right, so the sponge, the colored water is water coming from where?
The floor. The ocean. A puddle.
Mm-hmm.
The puddle. It usually comes from the puddle.
Puddles. How about the
Lake,
ocean?
a lake.
And then this jar that we're going to hopefully rain into, what is in this jar? This is water, right? But what does it stand for? What is it supposed to be? Jury?
It's supposed to stand for rain.
Not rain, but what?
The ground.
The
So
ground.
the ground is wet, so that's the water that it already rained.
Okay,
Now
and-
it's gonna suck back up and then it's gonna start raining.
So it
again.
could be the ground, or it could be something wet on the ground. What else could it be?
It
Levi?
can be
Anything,
anything wet.
anything that's on the
So
earth,
it-
right?
Yeah.
Anything on the
So
earth.
it
All right,
already
so
rained and now it's
so it says spray the sponge with colored water. Now remember when we sprayed this before, we don't need that, thank you. We did this before, we have to touch right on that sponge and spray in like that.
Now it comes complicated.
Because if you don't, oops, I'm sorry. If you don't, it sprays you just like that. All right.
It don't come to
All
my.
right, so let's do 10 sprays.
I can.
Get it right on there and let's do 10 sprays.
Right on
I'll help you count. 1,
2,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're keeping track of when it's going to rain. Okay.
I'm looking
And
at
it's going to rain because it's going to rain because what's going to happen in this cloud? It's going to get 2 what?
2, 3, 4. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Uh-oh, stop.
I didn't make 10, I made
Stop. Let's take a look. What's going on down here?
It's raining.
Now, what
I made
happened?
7, not 10.
Tell me what happened.
It's
The
not raining all
cloud
the way.
got what?
What?
To what?
Full. It wasn't raining.
Take. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about snow. And snow's a little bit like in the rain, correct?
Yes.
Because we talked about the rain. And remember when we used this book about the rain?
Yes.
We talked about how the rain actually gets formed. Who can remember when we did our experiment on rain? How did that happen? Austin, how'd that happen?
When we put the sponge over, like the sponge actually worked like a cloud, and for it to rain.
And then what happened to the sponge? William?
The sponge got too full of water, and it started going down.
And then it got so full that what happened to the water, Mackenzie?
It rained.
It rained, okay, because the cloud got so full it couldn't hold the water anymore. And where did we say the water came from? The water came from where? That went up into the clouds. What was that called? Yes.
It came from the ground and evaporated up into the clouds.
Exactly. And then that's what happened. It got so full. So
Just like it was today.
this book has something special in it. Not only does it talk about rain, but it also talks about when the clouds get too full and it's cold outside. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the clouds get so full, but it's cold. And so instead of the clouds dropping water as in rain, what do they drop? What do they drop instead? Snow. And sometimes what?
Icicles.
Sometimes ice, like ice. It looks like it may look like icicles.
Sometimes, one time I saw a snowstorm.
Right, that would be snow that would be coming down. Esperanza.
So, like, rain is melted snow.
Rain is melted snow. You're exactly right. But the reason why it's coming down as snow is because up here in the clouds and in what we call the atmosphere, it's very, very what?
Cold.
Anybody know that temperature it has to be in order for things to freeze? What does it have to be?
32 degrees.
32
Or
degrees
lower.
or lower for things to freeze, correct. Okay, so today we're going to use our senses. We're going to use our sense of sight, touch with our skin, okay? We're going to use our sense of smell, because some of you might want to smell some of our experiment items. We're going to listen, so that would be hearing, right?
Yeah.
Right? And to do this experiment, because this experiment's more than just about making snow. This experiment is also using our senses. So we're going to get started. And remember, see how that looks. See how that looks like little snowballs. All right, let me make one, and then I'm going to pass it to you. And we're all going to get our hands in there and make it.
I
Okay?
hope it's freezing when mine
It's
is
cold.
going.
It's very cold when you put your hands. Much colder than it was yesterday.
No.
So remember how I said you have to squeeze it to make that
Yes.
snowball.
Okay.
So there we have a frozen snowball with blue glitter. All right, your turn.
I hope it's when I do it's soft.
Is it cold?
Yes, it's soft.
So we're using our senses. We're using our sense of touch. We're looking. We can smell the baking soda. Not the baking soda, but the shaving lather. Yeah,
Attention staff, this is the last opportunity for our pictures.
that's okay. Can we just
Attention
keep going?
staff, this is the last final opportunity
Pass
for
on.
the spring pictures.
Pass on. Pass on. All right, Austin.
Look at that. Okay. Yes, this is
Colder. It's colder than yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah.
We put a little bit more in. Okay, squeeze. Go ahead, William. Put your hand in there and squeeze it. Squeeze it. Make one. Did you get to make one yet, Mackenzie? Okay, you get in there too. Get in there too and make one. Okay.
I'm pretty. This is so hard.
Yeah, it's so much colder than yesterday. We got just a little bit more in there.
How is
that was
it like
easy.
fluffy?
This kind of looks like a rock.
Yes, it does.
It's like
Well, and it even does still look
I
like
ate some shaving cream. I got some.
it does look like a snow. It does feel like snow, except for it is not as cold.
Yeah.